The number one way to inspire change in someone's life is by sharing your story. Imagine if your story was the one in a million that someone desperately needs to hear. I'm Devin Schubert, and I'm on a mission to share 1 million stories across social media. And I want your story. It's time to take your story to the stage. And now, here's one of those stories.
Hi, my name is Craig Washington, and I just wanted to briefly give you a little bit of my history, a little bit of my story. Back in 2020, I was at a church for over 25 plus years, and I ended up leaving because of the toxicity in that place, being used and abused and taken advantage of, or whatever you wanted to say. And I had to learn, and the challenges I had to deal with, or I had to learn, was once I left, what was I going to do? How was I going to trust again? How was I going to be able to move forward in my life? How was I going to be able to really move to where I needed to move? And because I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what church I was going to, I didn't know what place I was going to be, I didn't know anything. But I ended up just walking in faith. I ended up just trusting and letting God lead and guide me. And when I began to let God lead and guide me, He put me in a place. Now, when He put me in that place, the new church I was going to, I still had some issues. I still had some trauma that I was dealing with. I still had some issues that I was dealing with. I still had some trust problems and some love problems and any other type of problem that was still there because of that leaving that place. And after I left that place, it just, you know how you feel empty, you know how you just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You're just like, how do I move forward from this? But I want to let you know that you can move forward. You can continue to step out on faith. You just have to believe and trust what God is doing in your life. I had to do that. I had to trust God. I had to trust His movements. I had to trust His plan, because a lot of times when we don't know God's plan, we don't know why we had to go through storms, why we had to go through problems, why we had to go through this, why do we had to go through that. And we're at that place where we feel alone and not loved. And when we don't hear God the way we think we need to hear God, then we kind of step back. But I had to get over that. I had to begin to step out on the faith that I needed to step out on. I had to go to that level that I needed to go to. I had to trust and believe and move forward. And once I began to just step out on that faith and move forward, I begin to heal on the inside. I begin to trust on the inside. I begin to be able to speak and rebuild relationships that I had lost, that I had burnt because of the old place, and building new relationships. And it was so wonderful and awesome to see me growing, to see me back elevating, to just see. And one thing I had to learn to do is I had to learn to trust people that I didn't know. I had to learn to retrust. I had to learn to rebelieve. I had to learn to have that faith that is needed so I could go to that next level. And once I realized who I am, and I had to go through a storm and a problem, and then once I realized that, I was able to be able to go to that next level. I was able to go higher and higher and higher. And because of this, because of the things I had to deal with, the hurt and the pain and all the loss and the grief, God allowed me to start something called Guided Grace Christian Services, a place where people can, a Christian base, things that's done with scripture, that allowed me to be able to help people, to allow me to be able to show people through the scriptures that they, even though they're going through a hard time, or when they're at a crossroads, they can still make it. They just got to have that push. They got to I surround my people who have been around the things that I've been. I surround myself with people who have been through these problems. We learn to communicate with each other. We've learned to talk things out, and we've learned to go to that next level. So I'm saying to someone who may be listening to this, or listening to, man, I don't think I can make it, I don't think I can get back on my feet, that you can do it. You can go to that next level. You just have to trust. Just have to step out on faith and go to that level. That needs, I said, if you have faith of a mustard seed, I can speak to the mountain. Begin to speak to your situations and speak to your problems and know that you're not alone. The worst thing to feel is when you're alone. The worst thing is to feel is you don't feel that God is with you. The worst thing is to feel is you're all by yourself. I want you to let someone know that you are not all by yourself. You can make it. You can go higher. Just begin to forgive yourself. That's what I also had to learn. I had to forgive myself. Once you forgive yourself, watch things begin to change in your life. Once you forgive yourself, watch you to begin to, just things begin to look different and operate different, and you begin to move different. Even if you don't have a church home yet, find that new place, pray and ask God to lead and guide you, and you just have to be watchful and see the things that are going on. But I can guarantee you that if you just wait on the Lord and let the Lord take you where you need to go, you begin the healing process. So I just want to say thank you for this time and this opportunity just to be able to tell somebody that you can make it, to be able to tell somebody you're not alone. Have a blessed and wonderful day. And remember, you can do it.